What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
What's going on, gentlemen?
What up?
Ahoy.
How we doing?
Pretty good.
Happy
warming up.
Easter. Happy spring
Yeah.
break or something. So all these things just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, been 2 weeks for us. Marvin, 3 for you. You haven't been around, right? You weren't here the last one? Can't remember.
I don't know how long it's been.
We didn't
Be
plan
honest.
this, but we're
We
looking...
weren't here last week.
Yeah, we weren't totally. But I don't think Marvin was with us the first one. I got to just stop and say, because I didn't even realize in our preparing of the show, we didn't plan this, but we're fucking twins, Marvin.
Twins?
We're rocking that fucking stash and the fucking stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we should,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, do something with it. Rob a bank or something. We look cool. The stash is back. I was explaining it yesterday. My fucking older people don't like the stash, but I'm like, yo, that like sleazy, greasy Coke dealer look is back. I'm into it.
Yeah.
You look good, Marvin.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. I was going to say it back. Dusty, you're looking good too. Braided beard.
Thanks.
Nice.
My dad's had a mustache as long as I can remember.
Oh, really?
Always. Yeah.
It's that Burt Reynolds stash. The ladies love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're back. Episode 129. Should be 130, but like I said, we missed last week. Did you guys watch that movie last week? Because I didn't get around to watching it.
Remind me what the movie was.
One of them days.
It was the Kiki
Oh,
Palmer
yeah, I watched it.
movie. Yeah.
Was it good?
No.
It was funny. Yeah.
Like worth watching?
I think it's worth watching. It definitely had like people say it was like a knockoff version of Friday or something, but it wasn't
Oh.
really. It's just LA, so
Yeah.
you would think that, but it's like totally different. I thought it was pretty funny.
Was Debo in it?
Nah,
Okay.
Debo's dead.
No, I meant like a female version of Debo.
It was a female version of Debo, kind of.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll have to watch
Yeah.
it. I don't know that any
I put it
movie-
on one night, but I fell asleep. It was late night though.
Oh, that's fair.
I tried to watch it. Yeah.
It was funny. Yeah.
Still on the list.
It wasn't like amazingly funny, but it was pretty funny.
Right. I'll check it out. I don't know that there's a movie funnier than Friday, honestly. When you really think
It's a good
about
one.
it, it's like it's got to be like the all-time funniest movie ever made. Yep. So we got a good one today, folks. Today is that special day, Make Marvin Watch Day. This
Beautiful
was
day.
my pick this month, and later on we're going to talk about Memories of Murder, which is
Or Mom.
what do you mean? Oh,
Yeah.
Mom, yeah, which is
Yeah.
actually funny because you scared me. That I thought you maybe watched the wrong movie because he has a movie called Mother.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah.
They're all connected.
So we're watching Memories of Murder. Talk about that a little bit later. Of course, from Bong Joon-ho, global sensation.
Bong Joon-verse.
That's right. Hell yeah. Damn, you're full of it tonight. I love it.
Yeah. I gotta quit my job and just
Yeah, do some
something
stand-up.
different.
Do some stand-up. I wanted to open today. We're talking about something I saw on the internets. Somebody that I follow. I've mentioned him before. His YouTube channel. His name is what the fuck is his name? Good. I didn't even prepare. His name is Dave McRae. He's like a horror YouTube channel kind of guy. Does most of his content about like Halloween and the Halloween franchise.
hmm
But he's a filmmaker. He's got a real knack for. In fact, I've mentioned him before because he made a fan film sequel to Black Christmas, which was one of the Make Marvin Watch movies. It was called It's Billy or something like that. Anyway, he put out a tweet this week that I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about it. So he put out a tweet talking about ending the debate about who's on the horror Mount Rushmore in terms of like killers, right?
hmm
And he says, obviously, it's undeniable that the top 3 are Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees. No question. But he says, outside of those 3 titans, the 4th spot is where the water's a little bit murky and where most of the debate comes in. And he said, he said something that I agree with that you might be surprised about given our opinion of the recent one. But he says Ghostface is undeniably the fourth and final spot, thanks to his immense cultural impact and lasting legacy, which are the two defining qualities that he says of any true horror icon. And I agree. Even though the last few movies, maybe all the movies of Scream, except for the first one, aren't really that great, Ghostface has really embedded himself into the pop cultural zeitgeist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he transcends the horror movie genre. Now we're starting to see, like,
well, he's also not a singular person, which that automatically disqualifies him from my rankings.
See, that's interesting because that's where the debate comes in. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh no, it's Leatherface," and Dave makes a good point that Leatherface and Chucky and Pinhead, they all have their place within the genre, but they're not as influential and more niche. Now, I've seen arguments that say, well, what are you saying? Leatherface isn't as influential? He's the first. He's literally created the slasher genre.
He did. That's true,
but it's very niche. It's a very niche film. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
But niche, when you say niche, that doesn't mean less impactful to me.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's a fair point. What about you, Dusty? What do you think about this whole debate?
So we're talking best slashers then? Not
like,
just
who's
best
going
killers,
on the Mount Rushmore of horror movie characters? Villains?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're kind of keeping it humanoid here, but I mean, my mind immediately thinks like the Xenomorph was probably got to go on the fucking mountain somewhere, right?
That's fair.
Or maybe Predator.
The original.
But, yeah, I don't know. It.
Pennywise, that's interesting.
There's a lot of. I don't know who you would put as the. I don't know, man. That's a tough question. There's a lot of good answers, though. I can tell you that.
We might see Art the Clown on there in the future. He's certainly starting to gain some traction and recognition. He starts out his tweet saying, "We got to remember the true purpose of a Mount Rushmore. It's not just about personal favorites. It's about defining the figures who influence and legacy, whose influence and legacy transcend time." And so, I guess in that regard is why I kind of agree. I guess it is around slashers specifically. And, when you think about it, Ghostface literally redefined the slasher genre for a whole new generation of people in the early 2000s. Like, literally changed the genre, because that first Scream came out before Halloween H2O, and Halloween H2O was almost like a fucking homage to Scream. It had a very similar style, and like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like he's onto something here, but I wanted to get your guys' take on it. But that's interesting. So you're going with Xenomorphs, and Marvin, you're going with what? Leatherface? That's your guy?
Probably, yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
If you're talking about like influence and all that, I mean, it's like there's none of this shit without Leatherface, technically, right? So
that's fair. Yeah. He says his final thing, he says, while Chucky, Pinhead, and Leatherface have their place in the genre, their influence remains more niche. Even newcomers like Art the Clown, who are gaining recognition, haven't yet achieved the kind of broad, lasting cultural impact that Ghostface has. He leads a nearly $1 billion franchise, stays relevant nearly 30 years later, and still draws crowds to theaters. So,
yeah, that's probably fair.
He makes a good point. I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I love, obviously we all are horror fans, and other than Art the Clown, there aren't that many. Not that I know of. There's none.
American Psycho.
Yeah, but he's not. There's not really that many like slashers like there were back in the 80s. So it's a dead genre kind of.
Yeah.
So, thought that was interesting. Have you guys been watching anything this week? These 2 weeks? I haven't.
I actually watched a movie with C yesterday.
Oh, what'd you watch?
We watched Monkey Man.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
It was really good, actually. Yeah.
Is that the one with Patel, whatever the fuck his name is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought we had planned to watch this at some point, but we kind of moved it around.
Yeah, I think so.
It was really good. It was it's like a revenge movie in India. Guy's mom gets killed, and he's kind of trying to take down, basically going against like the police and the government and like this big cult type leader guy.
It's like an Indian
it's like
John Wick,
we're talking about Monkey Man.
Yeah, it's like
right?
John Wick.
Yeah, okay, Monkey Man with Dev Patel.
What did I
remake.
say?
You said the right thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little horror movie out that just came out called The Monkey too, I think.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, no, I want to see that too. I think it may be. It only had like a 6.8 or something,
Oh,
which
really?
surprised me. But yeah, it had like there was like some trans women in there, so it's like automatically gets deducted 2 points from like most
everybody
ratings. Yeah, for whatever reason. So yeah.
Oh, you know,
it was good though.
Nice. How about you, Dusty? What you been up to watching?
I watched The Amateur this week.
Oh yeah,
and it was good. I mean, nothing great about it. Yeah, it's the CIA. A lot of CIA movies. Black Bag, I think, came out recently.
Rami Malek.
Yeah, he's a analyst for the CIA, and his wife dies, and he wants to do wet work so he can do revenge or whatever. It's a fascinating little film. It's got some interesting little twists and turns. They're not really twists and turns, but it's I mean, it keeps you entertained.
Okay.
It's a good little spy flick, but as far as spy movies go, it's just all right.
See
Interesting.
the cast here. It's funny that John Bernthal is casted as the Bear, which is funny because he was also in The Bear.
Was he in The Bear?
Brother? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the dead brother.
Yep.
Have you guys
spoiler
watched and or finished Daredevil? I that's the only thing I really watched this whole week. Oh, actually,
yeah.
Did you?
I saw the spoiler though. I think.
What's the spoiler?
Yes.
The guy getting his like head ripped off or whatever. Basically.
Yeah, that's like the least of it.
Crushes the skull.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the finale, Dusty?
It was an all right season of Daredevil. It wasn't the greatest. You can tell it had been reworked and that it came from something that wasn't so great, and they did what they could with it. But it was a bit lackluster. It could have been so much more.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm kind of tired of one piece series now. Because we're about to get a Superman that's just like, hey man, get used to it. There's superheroes. You're in a world. Let's go. And we're still getting like, this is Daredevil. And there's no other superheroes, and none of them could show up because this is Daredevil. I mean, Punisher's there, but like I'm ready for more of the crossover. I'm just sick of the one character series where nobody else is around. Like if Wilson Fisk was doing this in New York, other superheroes would be doing shit. Yeah, and that's kind of what irritates me as where Marvel or Disney is going with this shit is. Like, just get everybody involved already. Like, you need the crowd. Like, you have to sign somebody for 5 or 10 years to show up whenever you need them to, whether it's a show or a fucking movie. Just sign them for a time length. Yep. And then we'll kill the character off and start over. Is how you're gonna have to do it.
No, I agree.
I get that, but
frustrating.
If it's a good enough show, it shouldn't need like all the other people, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I mean, you want that, but this is like 4 or 5 seasons of Daredevil we've had now, and this is basically a redo of the last season that we had for Daredevil, of him trying to figure out whether he wants to do this or not. It's
to expand on what Dusty's saying, to add a little clarity for you, Marvin, since you haven't watched it.
Yep. This
season is about Wilson Fisk, who is a known crime lord. He is known as the Kingpin because it takes place after. It's directly in continuity with the original Daredevil run on Netflix. So we know he's a bad guy. And this season kind of sees him running for mayor. And he's basically Trump. And he's running as like he's like a criminal crime lord fucking guy who's now running for mayor, who turns the city to his side by using like anti-vigilante sentiment, essentially. And as the mayor, he creates this task force of police officers who go a little bit too far doing police brutality and stuff and taking the law into their own hands. And they use the Punisher skull as their iconography because they like idolize the Punisher. They think what he's doing is actual justice.
Right.
And so Fisk is like doing his thing, and the season is like a patchwork of like old stuff that was written by the people that got fired and new writers trying to mishmash it together. But it culminates with the city basically being completely taken over by Kingpin.
Martial law.
he declares martial law. There's a blackout overnight in the city. Like the whole city's blacked out. New York City, yeah, Manhattan, is blacked out, and he's basically taking over, declaring martial law. So what Dusty's really saying is like, it's okay that you have singular heroes doing their own things and stories here and there, but when the city of New York is blacked out and being taken over by like crime and all this stuff, like the heroes are going to show up and do some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
but they can't do that because you guys have complained about that before with, I think, Secret Invasion was one of them.
Yeah.
And I get the complaint. It's a valid complaint as far as like, oh, of course they would show up if it's this crazy shit is happening. But I mean, they can't do that every time.
No. I mean, that's the thing. No. It's a writing conundrum because, and it's not a conundrum, actually. It's something that Marvel seems to think is a conundrum because everything they make is this huge, it's usually like a universal ending threat, like this, like the Thunderbolts.
Right. They're making it too big. Yeah.
The Thunderbolts, as excited as I am for it, this character that they're dealing with, the Void, is literally one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel universe. In the comic books, he defeated the X-Men, he defeated the Avengers.
Oh my God.
He defeated them together. It took like Emma Frost, a very powerful, who you now know from Marvel Rivals.
Oh yeah, she's thick as fuck.
She's a very powerful
in the game
telepath, and it took for her to like get into his head to beat him. And so now me and Easy, Ed, shout out, have been like,
shout out.
How are they going to beat this dude? He's turning people to fucking shadows in the trailer. Like, what are we supposed to do about it?
It's going to be like
the power of love.
It's going to be like Arya Stark when she killed the fucking the Night Lord or whatever the fuck in Game of Thrones. Like
that's out of my wheelhouse, but I probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Lackluster.
So yeah, like if they want to do these things, they got to just bring it down a notch. You know what I mean? But we did get some good Punisher action in the finale. I thought that was good. Finally.
Okay, that's cool.
And I'm talking like brutal, gory shit. Like the question over whether Disney is willing to push that line is completely over. They pushed it.
Good.
And they did it well. So I'm excited to see more of Punisher stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, it's going to extend into season 2, but they kind of didn't really fully pay off the whole like cops using his iconography type of thing. He has like a conversation with one cop when he's just like, you think you know my worldview? You don't know me. You don't know my pain type of thing. So,
propaganda?
Well, the cops.
Is that what you said?
The cops in the show, it's supposed to echo real life, how like these like army guys and military people and cops use the Punisher logo because they think his brand of justice is correct. And,
right, yeah.
And there couldn't be further from the truth because he is, in the comic books, like he represents not proper justice. He represents how the justice system that we have has failed.
100%, yeah.
So it's just something that I hope they deal with it further because I think it's a compelling thing. And it's one of the examples of where comic books echo real life brilliantly and speak on real life issues brilliantly. In the scope of these fantasies. But yeah, so season 1, not that great. I'm okay. I'm like, I'm ready for season 2, but nothing majorly exciting for me about it at this point in time. I would still watch it,
Yeah, I want to watch it. I'm probably gonna be watching a lot more stuff over the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Why?
Well, I've just been gaming a lot, and I'm getting kind of burnt out with games.
Fair. Yeah.
Even though, I was playing Path of Exile, and that was really good, but they kind of dropped the ball, and I was still playing. I was like trying to enjoy it, even though it wasn't that good. And then I was super excited to play Last Epoch, but I was already so burnt out, just kind of like back-to-back gaming. So
okay.
I just kind of need a break.
I'm actually wanted to talk about Last of Us. I haven't watched it yet. Have either of you?
Nope. I'm excited though. Very excited.
Episode.
Yeah. Turns out Marvin knew the big spoiler all along and didn't reveal it to us, Dusty. So we've been beating around the bush for nothing. So
yeah.
Apparently episode 2 is where it happens, right? I won't say it here for people who are watching us that haven't watched or played the game, but the big spoiler happens in episode 2, And it's really funny because when it happened in the video game, I don't know if you guys remember, but like the entirety of the internet like erupted with criticism and defense of The Last of Us Part 2. People either hated it or fucking loved it. I'm one of the ones who loved it. I thought it's brilliant. It made the audience, the players, it put the players in an uncomfortable position. And
yeah,
and I thought it was great.
Yeah, like I don't know if you ever played the Walking Dead Telltale game.
Yeah, I did.
You did. So you remember how Lee at the end of the first act or whatever dies, basically.
Yeah, and it's a fucking shock.
You're like,
oh, fuck.
I think you have the choice to kill him or leave him or like, it's really fucked up either way. But yeah, like sometimes it just makes sense and it helps build the story. So
yeah. And so what I think is funny though is that the show now is garnering the same reaction, but from like the show perspective that it did from the game perspective, which is a sign that what they did works. It's getting people pissed and uncomfortable and doing all the things that it's meant to do. But
can't believe this shit.
Yeah. In this case, it's because of Pedro Pascal. Everybody's like, you think you're going to have a successful show without Pedro? Get fucking out of here. That's not going to happen. And it's just like, it's just ridiculous. Just like watch the fucking show, man, and shut up.
This whole narrative that, what's the girl's name?
Yeah, Bella Ramsey, I know.
That she isn't hot or whatever.
So
like that shit is fucking insane.
Like she's a fucking, I mean,
how old was she in the game?
Ellie was like 14, I think, or 15. Yeah, you're like talking about a child.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
People are bizarre and weird. But yeah, I'm excited to watch The Last of Us. I mean, again, remember the first season I was a little lukewarm on. I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was as effective from the game.
Yeah.
But
I have a lot. That is included. I have some other shit to watch too.
Yeah.
What is the show? God, I can't remember.
Have you started the studio, Marvin?
Oh, studio.
No, it's on my list.
We've been talking to him about it the last couple of weeks. It's so brilliant. I'm not caught up to the last episode, Dusty, so don't spoil anything. But
okay.
Oh, I remember I was thinking about too. Handmaid's Tale is back.
Oh, is it?
Which that's been on for like 6 seasons now or some crazy shit. But so I gotta watch that. I gotta watch Last of Us. I started and I'm still gonna finish Paradise.
Okay.
With Sterling. Yeah, he's good.
Oh, yeah.
Great show.
Sterling.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot of shit to watch now.
Yeah. Sometimes
I thought I was gonna be able to catch up at one point, but now I realize that it will never happen once again.
Yeah, remember, you go from having too little to too much. That's how it works sometimes.
I don't feel like I've ever had too little. It was just always overwhelming amount of content.
Yeah.
There's that show Mobland that I want to watch.
Back.
Which one?
Oh yeah, Black Mirror. Jesus
Black
Christ.
Season 7. Marvin's gonna have a panic attack.
I said
freaking out.
I said Mobland. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard about that. That's Tom
Dusty
Hardy,
was talking
Pierce
about
Brosnan.
It last week.
Yeah, watching
that one
that.
looks
It's
good.
Andor season 2 is coming back.
Oh my god.
Tomorrow. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Andor's tomorrow. Fuck.
There's that show Adolescence that I want to watch that I heard was pretty good. It's like a mini series. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
You guys want me to watch Reacher? I haven't watched Skeleton Crew. It's just
I haven't watched Skeleton Crew either. Are we gonna cover Andor every week or what?
I hope so.
Well,
it's gonna be a lot, but
starts tomorrow.
Oh shit.
We gotta commit.
Ooh, tomorrow? I mean, yeah, I should be able to because I'll have a whole week.
We're not gonna we're not gonna record tomorrow. I'm saying we'll.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. So then we're gonna
cover
it
weekly.
Well, here you heard it here first, folks. We're covering Andor weekly. So if you want, we're not gonna do traditional breakdown content. I hate that shit, and I hated doing it for fucking Severance. We're just gonna we're gonna talk about each episode, okay, for a little bit. If you guys want to see that stuff, then subscribe to the channel and check back each week. We'll have coverage of Andor. So,
Alien Earth coming out this summer too.
Yep, a lot of stuff.
You gotta stop.
Enough. You gotta stop.
I'm gonna add it to my list though. Watch me.
Yeah,
I'll do it again.
Do it, Marvin. You won't. Oh man. All right. Well, we had a 2-week break, kinda. Dusty, what you got for us? You got some news? Dusty was a newsman, folks. He used to do video game journalism. Now he covers the news for us here at the Harsh Language Podcast, getting us all the entertainment news What you got?
Yeah, we got a little sad news here to start out. I don't know. Did you finish watching Mythic Quest?
Yeah, I did.
Did you watch the updated finale?
The updated finale? No, I didn't even know
That's
about
the
it.
remix.
This is the first.
Well,
this is the
Mythic
first I'm seeing
Quest
of
has
this.
been canceled, Dan,
That
and
sucks.
they allowed
What?
the team to go back and do an updated season 4 finale, so they would have a proper goodbye instead of like a game over.
Oh, that's nice.
Is how they're doing it. I have not gone back and rewatched it either, but I have watched the season. So kind of sad that it ended on that note. Neither of us know what that note is because we haven't rewatched the episode, but
It's the same
Wow.
it's in
episode.
there. Yes, they just
They patched
updated.
it.
They patched it. Yeah.
it. Yeah.
There was a
They
4-episode spinoff. I had just found out about. The chick who plays the former tester, who's now like the finance sidekick person.
Yes.
She wrote it. It's called Side Quest, and it's an
interesting.
it's like a 4-episode anthology where each episode focuses on certain players, fans, and employees of the fictional game Mythic Quest. And I've heard it's really good, so I have to go ahead and watch it. But yeah, it's called Side Quest.
Cool.
But yeah, that sucks. That Mythic Quest.
Yeah.
Canceled. I kind of has figured, like, every time we mention it or I mention it to you guys, like, it's not. I figured it wasn't like a super popular show, that it's probably more niche than anything.
Yeah.
So that's
It's a fun show. It just got a little repetitive.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they probably just didn't have. I mean, we know that they lose money. We've reported on that. We've reported that they're cutting back. They have to scale back because they spend so much money. So I mean, if if you're not, whatever their internal numbers suggest, if you're not getting people watching the shit, then you obviously got to pull the plug. But we got what, 3 good seasons out of it?
Yeah.
Was it 3 seasons or 4? I forget.
4 total. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the right in the wheelhouse. We say 4, 5, 6 seasons. That's all you really need. It ended on a ridiculous cliffhanger that I'm gonna be upset that never gets resolved. But we'll see. We'll see how the patched episode is.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and talk about the ending next week, I guess.
Well, that sucks.
Some homework.
It's Always Sunny premieres in June or July, I think. So excited for that. Like the fucking 27th season of that show. So they're still going strong.
Well, speaking of cancellations, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Tomb Raider series probably not happening, according to some sources.
Really?
This project came from a $20 million a year deal that Prime Video signed with Phoebe in 2019, which has actually produced no shows or films from the creator, which is kind of wild. But somebody from the Daily Mail source said it's not going ahead. The project is dead, according to other sources. But early in 2024, they announced this with her as the writer and producer. Apparently, she turned in a couple scripts. None of them were suitable. Tens of millions of dollars wasted. And so, yeah, Amazon
pulled the plug.
Not doing it.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah. Well, they announced it, like I said, I think it was May, maybe. It was like spring in 2024 when they announced it. So
interesting.
Yeah, just wasted a lot of money. But it's wild that she's getting paid $20 million a year since 2019 and hasn't produced anything for them yet.
Yeah. Well, speaking of,
that's insane.
I have a piece
That's a good gig. Tony Gilroy let this one slip. Star Wars Horror Project. Dan, did you hear about this one?
Oh, I did not. Let's go, baby.
He was speaking to SFX Magazine for an Andor junket, probably, and he was I think he joked. He said he'd like to see like a 3-camera sitcom of Star Wars or horror, I think. And then the guy followed up with like, "What would you do with the Star Wars horror?" To which he replied, "Oh, they're doing that. I think they're doing that. Yeah, I think that's in the works." Yeah. He went on to say, "I'm kind of agnostic on what I think should or shouldn't be done in the Star Wars universe. I think you can do anything with the right story or the right director, but he did say they're doing that. So
that's very exciting.
Very exciting, actually. Yeah.
It's
got to be very Sithy, right? I'm imagining.
I would imagine so, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe you could just do like a fucking monster story where somebody's like dealing with
true.
You know, some sort of
like a little small planet or something.
Crazy
like, who knows?
alien life on there. Yeah, there's a number of things you could do.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably have some sort of like seduction of the dark side along going. I mean, you'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess not, but everybody would assume that that's what it is because it's Star Wars. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
well, that's cool.
Projects, yeah.
All right. What else?
This was an interesting one. Stampede Entertainment has reclaimed, quote unquote, some of the rights to their cult classic film Tremors.
Oh.
They released a statement in regards to this, and summed up, it basically says they aren't reading any outside ideas. They're discussing a return to perfection sequel and one or two more outlandish ideas featuring graboids and new settings. They're also considering ideas that feature the return of Kevin Bacon as Val, but no promises. And they apparently also have no rights to the first movie and no ability to license anything from it. So they just reclaimed the rights to make a sequel, and they're referring all licensing requests to any Tremors film to Universal Studios. So yeah, it was interesting. But they also enlisted Christian Francis to write a novelization of the original Tremor script, which is titled Beneath Perfection. But yeah, it looks like they're making a sequel, tossing around ideas. They don't have the rights to any of the licensing, but they did get the licensing rights back, which is cool. Good for the artist. Good for them. You know,
let me tell you, there's a Marvin. First of all, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and just say you've probably never seen Tremors, huh?
Oh, I have seen Tremors. At least one of them. I don't know if I've seen every single one of them. I love Tremors.
I almost passed out. All right. There's a lot of 80s. Right, I mean, this is 1990, but that's right, baby. He's proud of himself.
This movie bombed at the box office and became a cult classic.
Oh yeah, it's one of those movies for sure.
I could see. I understand that, I guess.
All right. What else you working with in the news dust? Oh, here we go. Another fucking remake.
Yeah. What? The Highlander remake is happening. I'm kind of excited about this one. Marvin, have you seen Highlander?
Nah.
Highlander.
Sean Connery and Christopher Lambert.
There can only be one.
Highlander.
All right. Well, that might be the make Marvin watch.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. I do like this guy.
Christopher Lambert?
Okay.
Yeah. He was in no, he was in some other shit I saw though. Some very specific.
This is a classic.
No, actually, maybe
he was
this
in
is
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Beowulf was animated, so that was just his voice. It was a weird movie.
He was in Kickboxer.
Yeah.
No. Was he? No.
But anyway, Amazon MGM's United Artists Studio and Scott Stuber, they're in final negotiations to secure the rights to Highlander. Henry Cavill's set to star with Chad Stahelski.
Yeah.
Directing from a script by Michael Finch. Now, Stahelski obviously was the John Wick director, the stuntman turned director. And Michael Finch wrote John Wick Chapter 4, I believe. So, and he's penning the script for this. So this is going to be the Hollywood action. This is one of those summer blockbuster movies that we're going to get, but it's a Highlander remake. So they've got it with the potential to develop into a new series. Stuber apparently left Netflix and came to Amazon to help relaunch United Artists. And so, yeah. Okay. Both of these guys have a bunch of projects with Amazon, MGM, Cavill, and Stuber. But this one being an interesting one, you know, I was kind of excited for the oh my goodness, the Bouncer movie remake that they just did with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Roadhouse.
That was terrible. Roadhouse, thank you.
Roadhouse.
I was kind of excited for that one, and that one really let me down. This was one I'm looking forward to, but I feel like, I don't know. If Cavill is one though that wants to do that old IP justice. So there's hope for me. I think he hasn't got to do anything yet. We'll see what happens with his Warhammer 40K and his other stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
I think
it'll be good.
I think Henry's cursed, so maybe it'll be good. We'll see.
Okay.
He's cursed.
He is. Everything he fucking wants to do is just like completely shit because people don't respect the source material or whatever.
All right. Well, there are apparently 2 cuts of Mickey 17. That much is apparently true. Which one tested better is not so certain. We talked about a little bit earlier. Bong Joon-ho was given final cut in his contract and submitted his completed cut in November 2023 for Mickey 17. Now, we learned about this information after reports of the film was delayed due to him fighting for a final cut. So, like, after that information came out, he had to clarify, like, hey, I have final cut, and I turned it in.
Okay.
But he apparently also scoffed at screening leaks, saying that his people were saying that the movie's not good. And he said, well, my Oscar winner Parasite didn't screen test well either, so I don't really care what the screen tests say.
Yeah.
But apparently there was a WB cut floating around that WB said tested better, and he's like, that's bullshit. My version tested better, and my version is the one that came out. So interesting that that's the way it went down. He said his version tested the highest. So yeah, Mickey 17, it's been out for 42 days now. So we're about that 45-day mark that we were talking about Hollywood wanted to do. It's made $130 million, 45 domestically on about $120 million budget. So it's just barely past the break-even point, not counting what they spent on advertising it around. But yeah, it's apparently not his worst.
The concept looks fucking good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that it's a bit of old news, but I mean, now that it's been out for a while, we can get a better review on how it's doing. This is one I haven't watched either, but still want to. People that watched it said it's worth a watch. Some people said, it's mixed reviews, really.
Okay.
With that being said, we're here to talk about his other movie, so let's do that. That's all the news I have.
Thank you so much for the news, Dusty. Once again, let's get in to today's movie. Marvin hasn't seen a goddamn thing, folks. Once per month, Dusty and I take turns picking a movie that he hasn't seen that we think he definitely should have. Today was my pick. And as Dusty was just talking about, Bong Joon-ho, well, before Bong Joon-ho's global fame soared after Parasite and its unprecedented success, there was Memories of Murder, his second feature film. And I chose this one because it's certainly, we were talking earlier about Mount Rushmore. Well, this is placed firmly on my Mount Rushmore of all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 5. But it's also widely regarded as one of the greatest films of the 20th century. It stars Song Kang-ho and Kim Sang-kwang, probably mispronounced that, and I apologize, as detectives Park Do-man and Sao Tae-yoon, who lead an investigation into a string of rapes and murders taking place in Hwasong in the late 1980s. And this is actually based on the real Hwasong serial murder case that shook Korea in the 80s. So Marvin, I know you rarely watch trailers and stuff, but something we don't ask often enough, I think, when we do these Make Marvin Watch segments is, and I think we need to be better about it. So before we get into it, what did you think going into this movie? Did you have any ideas of what you were getting into or what?
No, I didn't think anything because I did not watch the trailer. I have seen a couple of Bong Joon's movies. I've seen Parasite. I've seen Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer's great.
I haven't seen any of the others.
Okay.
But those two are fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, so no thoughts.
Yeah, Snowpiercer's
Looks
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you didn't really know what you were getting into then. Didn't
nope.
know what to
I mean, murder.
Murder,
I felt,
yeah.
There's got to be some murder in there.
And memories, I think, probably.
And memories, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, what'd you think of it?
Oh man, this was really good.
Oh,
First, I love when a movie makes me nostalgic of a time and place that I've never experienced. Like for me, that's the telling of a very good setting and atmosphere, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The movie was like almost too good at switching between being very serious and the comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It was really good.
Awesome. Yeah. Tonally and like the genre and the style, it doesn't really fit neatly into like really one genre. Like it mixes the crime thriller with dark comedy and drama and tragedy. And sometimes it feels playful, like especially the scene towards the beginning when he like drop kicks the other detective when he thinks he's like
a lot of drop kicks.
Yeah, there's a lot of drop kicks. And yeah, it goes from playful to being like suddenly like brutal and bleak. And so the way that
for sure.
The way that Bong uses tone in the movie is brilliant.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Even in like some of the camera work, like I never expect just because I guess I started to notice some of more of the like camera work type of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And like during the scene where they're discussing the third victim, it was so good because it was like a slow pan to focus on the chief and Detective So while cutting out the other two. And then it goes back to the chief and the other two. And the chief was in the middle the whole time. And it's like, just reminded me of like this whole like angel devil on your shoulder thing. Like it was really nice.
What he does tonally in this is he keeps the viewers off balance. It goes from like funny at first, and then like the scene where he like he'll like slip in the mud or something like that, and then it later becomes like a haunting scene. And really, the overall
it's crazy.
Yeah, despite all like the emotional shifts and like the tonal shifts, it still remains like overall like a haunting movie. That's the best way to like.
Oh, for sure.
Describe it. And the shots that you're talking about, he uses a lot of like long shots and stuff like that really convey this like sense of desperation and stuff. Dusty, you've seen this before, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd only seen it once though. So and it had been a while, but yeah, it's great. I love a good Korean flick. There's so many good ones. But this one is amazing. Yeah, it goes through all of it, like you said. I think this is supposed to be I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It conveys a very good job of reality, in that reality is messy and reality is sometimes funny and bleak all at the same time, or at quite quick instances. So it does a really good job of just portraying humanity in general. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I agree.
A little slow at times, but great movie.
The cinematography and atmosphere that we're all kind of talking about, and you specifically with like the fluid camera movements, right? Very subtle but powerful. And rural Korea like this is muddy and wet and it's wide open, and it reflects like the sort of confusion and like the futility. There's like a repetition in certain shots, like the railroad tracks and the fields and the interrogation room, and like all this stuff just really again conveys that sense of desperation. We've watched a couple of movies in the past where I've said this, where like the setting is almost like a character. In this movie, like the rice field is almost a character of the movie, and a very powerful one at that. Like it's just super effective.
It has so many funny moments. It's insane, actually. Like the main cop Park. Main detective Park doing so much shady shit.
Yeah, he's great.
And then he bought the kid the fake Nikes with the fucking Velcro straps. And Detective So's like, these are not NICE, not NIKE. It was so good, man. At first I was thinking like, holy shit, the two main detectives are like Dumb and Dumber, truly. But really, I think Detective Park was pretty smart. But he was so used to dealing with smaller things, and they had never just experienced anything like this before. So it was probably just a lot of shock for him.
Yeah, you really get the ineptness of the small town when every time you visit a crime scene, they can't keep it clean.
That was so funny.
He's like, fuck it, I'm going to make my own shoe print and take a picture of it because we actually had it.
And doesn't actually think anything of it because he's like, well, I think this is the guy, so let me just like
that's it. Let me just
do the steps necessary to just arrive at that like the way I have to. But the performances between these two guys are awesome. And that's really what sells the things that we're talking about, especially what you said, Dusty, with the like you called it like the chaos. You said it was like chaotic and like the realness of what life is, and like the Detective Park, like he's he's like aggressive and reactive and sloppy and all this stuff, and he kind of detects with like intuition, which is obviously not how you do good police work.
Look into my eyes.
Yeah, and he also has like a borderline superstition, which is like comic relief at first, but it actually turns to tragedy by the end.
Yeah.
And then Detective Sal or Sal, I don't know how you pronounce it, but so he's like okay, he's like the big city cop who's like methodical and educated and disciplined, and he represents like that order and logic, but ultimately, breaks down.
Too close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it's printed right here on the paper, it has to be true.
Right.
Like the T's are dotted and the I's are crossed type of guy. And
it's great because in that, that they're over the course of the film, Park becomes more introspective and so loses control. And in that way, it really sort of sells what the overall, I guess, concept of the movie is, and that is what Dusty said. Like, it doesn't really, it breaks away from like the standard tropes of movies like this, like thrillers and murder mysteries, like Seven and Zodiac and other movies. Obviously those came after, but this genre typically glorifies either the killer or the detectives. And when I say glorifies, they don't like celebrate murder, but like those movies are built around like the either horror or suspense or the thriller aspects of the murderer or like the detecting of the detectives. This movie is a much more realistic, I think, take on the genre, because these people are imperfect. The case is messy. It's unsolved. Like the movie ends without really any sort of satisfying climax or anything like that. So I really enjoyed the breakthrough points of the case. Like when they discovered like, oh shit, this is actually a serial killer. He kills when it's rainy nights. And then, he kills everyone that's wearing red. And then they found out that all the murders took place when a certain song is requested. And there's many more, but the progression was all really good. And it felt almost rewarding as a viewer because they got stuck a lot. And then when they had that breakthrough, it was like, okay, this is good. We're gonna actually get to and they did a good job of setting you up to think like, okay, we're gonna really get some closure, and then you don't really get that closure. Right. But it still felt pretty good as a viewer, I think. Totally. One thing I also want to touch on too, because Dusty said like the ineptitude of these guys, which isn't really their own fault. They're not dumb. It's just they're not experienced in this. So they don't even have technology for this shit. Yeah, it's and as I said, it's based on a real set of serial murders. It was 10 women that were murdered between 1986 and 1991. And these were the first known serial killings in South Korea, like in total. So it's crazy. It's not just the fact that it was like these guys are kind of like rural and stupid, which let's face it, they are to an extent. Yeah. But like, this is the first time that anybody's ever dealt with something like this. Right. Exactly. It's not for lack of trying. What are you gonna say, Dusty? I was gonna say that sometimes it felt a little bit over pushed and maybe somewhat frustrating for me, and that's where I got the pacing thing. Is like, okay, he's calling into the radio station to request a song. You've already fought through the card was already thrown away, but that song specifically, anytime somebody requests that, like somebody gets murdered, and the next time it happens, you have to jump through all the same hoops, right? Because they don't know that that's the killer's song, because you've already went down to the thing and made a big deal about it. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels like, you would think they would they called in and did it. Like next time they request a song, make sure you fucking keep it, like whoever's writing it down, it's got to be the same person because it's a small town. So like that sort of ineptness felt a little faked to me and frustrating, but I get like the point of it, I guess. That's fair. But yeah, so I think what's really cool about this movie is that Bong Joon-ho, when he made it, because it is unsolved, he had to like imagine closure without answers, right? And again, in normal movies like this, you have closure. The case is ended. It's done. Whatever happens, happens. But like he didn't really have a choice in this case. He had to make like sort of this ambiguous ending, which I thought again adds to the real world weight of the movie that was throughout, because it just makes it feel real and like sort of lived in, which I mean it is because it's based on reality. But did you feel like this was more tragic knowing that it was based on a true story, or did you know it was based on a true story when you went into it, or am I breaking that news to you now for the first time? I can't remember.
Oh no, about it. I looked it up after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I felt that the ending was like really insane. I knew it was many years after the real events because it came out 2003.
Yeah, 2001.
But still, just think. Oh, 2000.
Oh no, you're right. 2003. My bad.
I just felt like knowing that the guy was still out there when the movie goes off, and it's like, because he goes back to visit the spot years later, and the little girl, he asks her what she looks like, and she's like, she looks normal, nothing ordinary. He just looks like an ordinary guy, yeah. And then it just makes you think like, yeah, it could be, your freaking mailman, your whatever, like it could be anyone. And he was still out there at that time. That had to be like kind of scary for people in Korea watching that at the time.
Oh, hell yeah. I bet you if you asked, I bet you that David Fincher took inspiration from this movie when he made Zodiac in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
Because Zodiac was another unsolved case when that movie came out. And at the end of Zodiac, it's that same feeling where like, he's still out there all these years later. And I remember the first time I watched Zodiac, it was one of those movies that like I didn't get around to right away. I watched it at home, like, I don't know, years after it had come out. And it was like late at night when I finished. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I went outside for a smoke afterwards, and I was sitting outside. It was silent, and I was like, damn, I'm fucking creeped out. Like, I know this movie wasn't like supposed to be a horror movie, but I'm creeped the fuck out that this guy could be my neighbor. Like, it's crazy. It's scary.
Body, bro.
And that's typically what it turns out to be with serial killers. It's like, oh, he was just a normal guy. I didn't fucking know anything about it. Like, it's just, it's creepy. People are fucking creepy.
They did a good job of, they went for the obvious target at the beginning. And then So comes and he's like, no, we're looking for the complete opposite. But really, you have no idea what you're looking for. It's just an ordinary guy as far as like what we think or whatever, right? Like they have no real clues because the guy is so good.
Yeah.
Like they think he's like a super smart guy, which he is clearly because he got away with it for so long. But
yeah. That final scene though, with Park staring into the camera, it breaks the fourth wall without saying really anything, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
And it like speaks to you and leaves you with that like lingering, just fucking unease about it.
I was already fucked up by that moment of despair, like when they find the young schoolgirl's body and Park and So, or they just walk past each other in complete silence, just like,
yep, like we're
supposed to have him. We're supposed to have him already. Like,
yeah.
And then it was still inconclusive though that it was even the guy that they thought it was. So it's like, it's like fighting. It's like fighting against the freaking universe almost. Like you can't win that battle because you don't even.
Yeah.
They weren't even sure. Like they were so sure, but it was like still like not completely him. Right.
Yeah. The end, the closing line that you mentioned, he looked normal. Oh, he looked ordinary rather, it really speaks to like the banality of evil and how just straight up ordinary it is. Like it's nothing crazy. Like we talked about horror killers earlier, like Michael Myers, Jay's, like, no, real evil is like way more terrifying because it is just plainly normal, and the killer could be everyone, maybe even watching the movie.
Right.
But yeah, I love the way it explores the themes of like guilt and obsession and memory because it obviously defined Park's life by the end. The irony of how they tried to use like brutal tactics to solve the case and failed.
Oh my God, that was insane.
But yeah,
torturing everybody. Dude.
Yeah.
I felt extremely bad when Gwang Ho died. That was the guy with the burns and the burn. It was like the total opposite of some movies when we complain that we don't care about anyone. I really felt for this too. I really felt for like everyone, even like the little schoolgirls that you don't even see much of. But it was like totally opposite from what we've seen in some movies where you don't care about any character at all.
Right. And that's why the movie really holds up, because it's masterfully done in blending those tones and themes and visual storytelling. It doesn't rely on the tropes, like I said. It ends messy, it's unresolved, it's realistic, and it's like a rare crime film that doesn't like overblow the detectives and all this stuff where like they're the icons of the whole thing. And it's very understated in terms of, it's like a simple movie. It's like very, like Dusty talked about the pacing, but like that's like purposefully done. And it's like super haunting. And you could look now at Bong Joon-ho's like later works and see this movie as the foundational piece for it, because like Parasite, which we talked about, his arguably most famous movie now, is about class divide and institutional failure and emotional decay. And this movie is very much in a similar vein, just sort of explored a little bit differently.
That was the same guy in Parasite and this movie.
Yeah, he uses a lot of the same actors.
He's the lead guy was
he's in basically all of his movies.
Song Kang-ho.
It's like James Gunn picking the same guys for all his movies.
I think he's actually in every single Bong Joon-ho movie. Yeah,
he's good. He's great.
Yeah, he is.
The last thing I'll say about this, they just did a good job of tying in the really like funny stuff, like you said earlier with the slip, to like very serious moments in the movie too. Like Park had this theory about the guy being shaved. Yeah, like he had his pubes were shaved, right? And the chief asked Detective Park, like, how do you investigate? Do you take the pants, takes off the pants of men passing by, and then they cuts to him watching dudes at the sauna.
right.
And then when they catch the dude with the red panties, that's basically how he found him in the construction site. Like, that was hilarious, but it was like a very important part. Or so we thought, until we found out that the guy was just a freaking creep, Yeah. It wasn't really the killer either, but I thought that's really well done too. Dusty,
you got a final thought?
No, just a great overall movie. Definitely worth a watch. Like, you can't go wrong. There's probably my second favorite cinema besides American cinema is Korean cinema. Great movies.
There's some really good ones. Notably, probably one of the best zombie movies ever made is Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
Yeah. Movie's amazing. Never saw the sequel.
Man from Nowhere.
Man from Nowhere is amazing. Fantastic.
The Swordsman is a great movie.
I think also...
I haven't seen The Man from Nowhere.
I saw The Devil. Is that Korean too? I think it is. Believe it is.
Looks like it.
The one they just remade. Oddball. Korean. Is that the one they just remade?
Oh, and then there's The Wailing, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I think that's also Korean. Oh no, maybe Japanese. Can't remember. No, I think it's Korean. But yeah, final little thing I'll say as a bonus. So the case actually was solved in 2019 after all these years. Incredibly, the real Hwaseng serial murder case that inspired this movie was actually solved. It was 16 years after the movie came out. The killer was identified as Lee Chun-jae, I think is how you pronounce it. And it turns out that this is him right here. Turns out that, can I get a fucking picture or no? Jesus Christ. God damn it, give me a break, bro. There he is, right there. Here's his Wikipedia picture. He was the actual killer. Turns out he was already in prison for the 1994 rape and murder of his sister-in-law. And DNA evidence finally linked him to at least 9 of the 10 murders depicted in the movie. He confessed to 14 murders in total, including one not previously attributed to the case.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, the South Korean statute of limitations meant he couldn't be prosecuted for most of them, but the confession still gave long overdue closure. And within the context of the movie, Bong Joon-ho has said he doesn't plan to revise the movie because it was always about the feeling of uncertainty and failure more than the case itself. The ending where Park looking into the camera hits even harder now. because it becomes like a time capsule of a moment when nobody knew who did it.
Yeah.
So you looked it up after. Does knowing that the case was solved change how you see the movie, or no?
Knowing how it was solved,
like knowing that it was solved, does it change the way you see the movie, or not really?
No, not at all. I mean, because it took so long.
Yeah.
For one, like, no, if the guy wouldn't have even got convicted for the other thing, he probably would have never even gotten caught. So,
right.
That's just, it's wild, man.
Yeah. So,
is he still alive? That guy?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think he is.
But yeah, so this is a movie that sits with you. Honestly, I've rewatched this movie dozens and dozens of times. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. And I think it'll probably always remain in my top 5. It's just fantastic. I love everything about it. I can't think of one bad thing. And it got an 8.1 on IMDb, which is incredibly high. Like I said, it's widely regarded as one of the best films of the 20th century. But this is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. This is an easy 10.
Ooh.
He is also alive, by the way. He's in prison for life, but he is alive.
I think he could do parole after 25 years.
Oh, wow.
He gets an 8 from me.
8?
Stays where he gets an 8.
Not a perfect.
Not a 9.
Well, 9's your perfect, but nobody gets a 9.
Yes.
Is that the rule?
Nah, no, a few people have gotten 9. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Beverly Hills Cop got a 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a
couple 9s.
A little too slow.
It's just below. Yeah, no, there was a couple pacing issues and a couple story issues, but it's because it's an old movie and that's how it's done. But after rewatching it, I mean, I still love it. I highly recommend it. It's an 8. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great score.
Perfect.
Bong Joon-ho is a destroyer, one of the best living filmmakers there is, and I'm very excited to watch Mickey 17. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get out to the theater to see it. And despite the probably ridiculous reviews it's gotten, I'm sure it's great. I don't think all his movies I haven't seen a bad movie he's done. So, yeah, that's just what it is. Yep. Next one for you, Marvin. If you're interested in watching more of his stuff, I would highly recommend Mother. Mother is fantastic.
Mother, huh?
Yeah. Mother is actually it's about she's searching for a killer who framed her son for a girl's murder. Very, very good movie. And in fact, Dusty and I were talking about Man from Nowhere. I'm pretty sure the kid from this movie, he's the star of Man from Nowhere. So,
oh wow,
yeah. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for us, folks. There's our thoughts on one of the greatest movies ever made.
Right. And
Marvin seeing it for the first time, he agrees. I guess, right? Perfect score, 10 out of 10. We don't just hand those out like cookies here, folks. So Memories of Murder, if this is not a movie you've seen before, highly, highly recommend checking it out. If you have and you think there's anything you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment down below. Marvin, you watch a lot of like anime and stuff, so I'm sure like subtitles are nothing for you. I feel like a movie like this though still is like pretty digestible for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that like are turned off by subtitles and stuff because it distracts them. But
yeah, people need to grow up with that because they're missing out on a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Amen.
I mean, you could read, right? You're a grown human being. Like, okay, let's just read, guys. It's not that hard.
Is this the first foreign movie you've watched outside of anime?
No, because I've seen Train to Busan. I've seen I've seen a lot. I can't even name them, but
foreign film is a graduation of sorts. You know, like once you start becoming a fan of movies, and then you branch out into like foreign films, and that becomes like that's when you hit a next level. Because there's a lot of fucking good movies out there. Let me tell you, folks.
Well, remember we watched the Spanish movie too, so that we watched that one on.
Which one?
That was oh man, I forget the name of it, but the whole premise was like people were getting infected and God, what's the name of that movie?
We watched it? Oh, the horror movie.
The horror movie, yeah.
When Evil Lurks or something like that?
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
When Evil Lurks.
That was a good movie. It was decent. Ending sucked.
It was
a good
cool.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got really good reviews. That's crazy.
Yeah.
People love it.
But yeah, folks, that's going to do it for us. Be sure to check back with us next week. Next week, we're watching the Netflix movie that looks really good with Havoc, the movie with, what's his name? Tom Hardy.
Oh, yeah. Action thriller, baby.
Yep, directed by Gareth.
Drug deal gone wrong.
Directed by Gareth Evans, who is the creator of The Raid, one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Haven't seen it.
So I'm pretty excited for this one. You could watch along with us, folks. Join our Discord. Link is down below. Take you to our website where we have all of our social media links and stuff like that. You can join our Discord. We post our monthly schedule, so you can watch along with us if you want. Again, join in on the conversation. We post a lot of like news and links and trailers and stuff over there. So if you don't want like to discover that stuff on your own because you hate social media, we do it for you. So consider joining the Discord. Leave a like on the video. It really helps out a lot. If you're listening over on Spotify or any of the other podcast platforms, please be sure to leave a rating and follow the show. Over on YouTube, do the same shit. Like, subscribe, helps us out greatly. We'll catch you next week. Thank you for hanging out and listening. You guys have a good one.
See ya.
Costa.